Right. We are back, my fellow showrunners. Here we are. We are finishing strong today in class number 3, this 1-week sprint into the wonderful world of showrunning. And the feedback has been insane. I told you from the beginning that we were going to kind of be different, push some boundaries, make you uncomfortable, and really stretch your imagination with what's possible especially now with AI, and how we can stay ahead of the curve as the information slash advice slash course world is changing. And I'm not going to belabor the point. We talked about it quite a bit, that course sales across the board are down. Can you still sell a traditional course? Yes. Is it harder now than it was a year ago? 100% yes. Is it going to be harder a year from now as it is today? Absolutely. And if you don't think so, it's not reality. I mean, just think about it logically, how AI is integrating into every platform, into every search, into social media, and think about how your search habits and your information gathering has changed. A lot of the prompts I'm giving you in this program, and I'm going to give you some big ones at the end, I couldn't have done that months ago. And what you would have needed is you would have needed me to keep kind of giving you stuff, right? So I'm kind of biting my own hand, but that's okay. Like, I'm here to help you and give you the tools, but the days of keeping it all in and secret and guarded is just coming to an end. So the idea of being a showrunner and building a world, or at least if you don't want to go full world and full characters, at minimum, walking away with the idea of, okay, I could wrap my idea around a story, and maybe it's a myth and maybe it's set in the past or the future, but at least it adds a little bit of differentiation. It's something that's not so commoditized. So I hope you're feeling good. If you're on here live, just on your level of excitement, right? Just excited about this idea of building something different, of creating 1 to 10. How are you feeling? 1, you hate it. You hate me. You wish I'd shut my big, stupid, fat face. 10, you're ready to build this world like a maniac. And I've done lots and lots of courses over the decades. I don't know how many. I mean, probably 30 in the past 2.5 years alone. But I have never, ever, in all the courses I've done and all the people, had so much immediate emails and feedback from attendees with progress. I've had people email me and say, "Oh, Ryan, I love that course, and that was cool, and I'm excited, and I like the way you teach," and all that stuff. But I've never seen where so quickly you guys are emailing me and saying, I'm lit up, I can't sleep, and look at the story I have already. From James to Diane to Max. I just got another one earlier. I think it was Heather. Like, just everything's outlined already. And it's so cool to see. And that's what got me really excited about what AI can do. And then as I started building my world, I'm like, you know what? I think I could teach this. Is that it removes all of those barriers of, I need to be the expert. What's my position? What's my niche? Who's my avatar? What's the course? What's the upsell? What's the funnel? Like, all that stuff is thrown out the window, because you can build this world, this universe, without any of that. So I'm excited. We are going to be continuing in the showrunner journey today. The first 5 codes. So the first couple of classes, we went through the first 5 codes of origin story, identity, characters, rules, and then monetizing with artifacts. So today, what we're going to do is wrap it up with the final 2, which is portals and progressions. And then I want to talk about promotion and marketing, and then kind of putting a bow on it with keeping this all organized and making sure your prompts are good and keeping it safe and staying on track. But I've always got something for you. I also got what is one of my top secret playbooks. Oh yeah, we're going there. I'm gonna show you what you're getting and giving you these prompts as well. It's based off the prompts that I'm using right now to build my own world. So I think you're going to like it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's start running this show. Show code number 6, portals. And that is essentially, how are they finding you, right? So we've got different types of portals, different entry points, right? So the main entry point is, how do they experience, what do they experience when they enter? So when someone comes into your world, what's the first thing they see? And if it's just a whole bunch of posts and random things and they don't know where to go, what to do, it can be overwhelming. So using, as always, our lens of, we're creating the speaker syndicate instead of how to build. By the way, just really quickly, how awful and generic does it seem now to build a program called the How to Build Confidence in Speaking Masterclass? Really, like, looking at everything we've done in just 2 classes, all of these ideas and characters and stories and products and artifacts and books and guides, all of that texture versus day 1, which was how to become, how to build confidence as a speaker masterclass, which is still how 99% of digital marketers and internet marketers think. And they're trying to, like, still work within those confines. It, to me, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like that feels so generic and stale and boring, and I just don't see it working for very long. No one could predict the future with 100% certainty, but I think if you're playing in that world, you're going to be in trouble. So I love this creativity and doing something different and taking chances. So people are coming in, and here were some concepts and GPT for the speaker world, right? A short film or trailer that sets the tone. And it could be as simple as like a mysterious landing page with a message from the founder. It could be your voice if you are the founder, or if it's a character, it could be one of the AI things, whether it's 11 Labs or Descript, right? An orientation transmission audio email, a single podcast episode that ends with, if you want to go deeper, follow the frequency. So the thing to ask yourself is, what's this first doorway and how do we make it unforgettable? So it just has to, it doesn't have to be these. It just has to match your vibe. If you're going mysterious, it should match mysterious. Like, if you're going mysterious all on the front and on marketing and the look and the name and the brand and all of that, and they come in and you're like, hey guys, it's Ryan and welcome to my, it's going to be completely disjointed. Or if everything on the front is like cool and rock and roll, and then the inside is like mysterious, like it just has to match. So no right or wrong. Remember, it's your creativity, but it just has to match. The communication channel. So how and where do they experience your world? Meaning, how are you going to keep reaching out and communicating? Obviously, my thing, which I love, are emails, daily emails, and it can be signed by the character. So in my world, I'm going to have this character, and he's going to be writing the emails. It's probably not going to be daily, but it'll likely start off with 2 to 3 times a week, and then I'll kind of see how it goes. YouTube series with cryptic visuals and commentary, and a deck of physical products or prompts that come by the mail. Diane just said, I'm on an email list where they used to sell courses for $3,000, and today I got an email for the next course for $97 for 5 days of each 1 hour. Yep, landscape has changed. Absolutely. They're all doing it because very, very few people are buying $3,000 courses. And by the way, Diane, here's a little piece of advice. Get off that freaking list. All that stuff is distracting. All of you, just You don't need to be on those lists anymore. Just go. Unsubscribe. I promise you're going to be fine. You're not going to miss anything. Ritual touch points. So now that we've got them in the world, and they're inside, right? They've subscribed. How do we get them to return regularly? How are they coming back? And it can be weekly signal check challenges. This is all in the speaker industry, right? This for the speaker syndicate. Monthly jam session live streams. You could do, and the jam session live streams could work if it's you, if you're the face, if you're the character, right? Daily mic drops. So they could be these little 1-minute truths from the archivist. The Sunday sermon style broadcast in audio or text. I know Lionel likes sermon style. Come on, baby. We're going to church. The world should feel alive, even if it's pre-recorded. So what's great about building this world is because you're setting up story and you're setting up some fictional component, whether it's full immersive universe or not, there's this level of, I don't know what the word is. You get a buffer. You have a lot more leeway, I guess is a better word for it. The people will give you more leeway because it's not based in reality. If it's based in reality, hey, I'm Ryan, I'm going to teach you this, or I'm going to teach you fitness. They're expecting live and me live and certain things. Like there's certain expectations. If it's a person based in reality, the person's teaching how to be a better confident speaker, certain things are going to be expected of them. If there's a universe, it's a speaker syndicate. It's so new, it's so different. If it's a pre-recorded message, people aren't going to get annoyed. They're not going to say, "Oh man, why aren't you doing it live?" So you have a lot more leeway in a world with stories than you would something based in real time. I hope that makes sense. And then when they're there, are there potentially secret rooms? Are there channels for insiders? And this is if you're creating more of an immersive world, an immersive space. And some of the ideas they came up with: a vault of unreleased prompts or speeches, a digital map with click to unlock areas, a members only Telegram channel called Backstage Mike, a tape club that sends monthly cassettes, real or fiction. Those could be physical, those could be digital, right? You can create layered immersion where every level deeper reveals more. Now, you don't have to do this, right? You could keep it really, really, really simple. Super simple. Like my world is and I think I have a slide later on, but I'll just talk about it now for a minute. My world is going to be really simple. Like there's going to be one layer of membership. That's it. I'm not even going to have multiple levels of membership. Maybe down the road I can. So I wanted to stretch you and show you what's possible, like take you to the limits, and then you could dial back as you want. I don't want you to think that now I have to create Dungeons and Dragons because that's not the point. And Max had emailed me, and I think he was getting very deep into the myth and the lore, and you can go as deep as you want. Just be careful. And this is my advice. You do what works for you. Is you still don't want to lose sight of the fact that this is still a business, right? And you still want to monetize in some way. And if you spend 95% of your effort just creating these elaborate stories and characters and things, then sometimes you lose a little bit of the business part of it. Like you get so deep in that, and then you're doing things that aren't necessarily monetizing. So you don't have to overcomplicate. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, like, oh, now I need to create 7 levels of membership and ascension and all these things. You don't have to do that. So I want to quickly just address the idea of, well, what are we going to use to build this? And my advice is use whatever tech feels good to you and is easy to use. Most of the digital marketing type products, whether it's High Level or ClickFunnels or even Kajabi, like those are good for products, but they're not really built for this. and they tend to be less customizable. Everything's kind of built from a hardcore marketer perspective and course perspective. So you can adapt them, but it's going to take a little bit more work. I am actually building so I spent weeks playing with everything. I even started doing a test. I'm like, I'm going to build because I'm going to have merchandise and product. I started building out in Shopify, but it just wasn't built for it. So I'm like, okay, what's light? What's lean? How can I build fast? How can I still have a membership? How can I still be an email first? Because I do believe even in this story-based world, you want to have email as like your main course. So I am going to build this. I'm using Beehive. So that I built a membership site on Beehive like a year and a half ago. I didn't love it because the web page and all the stuff was not very good. However, recently, even as soon as like 2 weeks ago, what they did was they created an entirely new website builder. So it almost functions now like WordPress. So you can add blocks and colors. You could do whatever you want. So I'm actually building my entire world on Beehive. So the front page is 100% customizable, and it's all built in with email. So I don't have to worry about extra email, right? It's all built in, and it has the built-in membership. So you could say, hey, here's this thing. And this, by the way, if you want the membership thing or you want to be part of our society, click here to unlock it. And then it's a paid membership component. The only challenge, the only downside right now with it, as of this recording, is that it's still not great at selling one-time products. So if I want to sell a one-time digital product, a one-time download, it's not great at it because it's more subscription stuff. However, my workaround is that, so this is my personal tech stack. I am using Beehive on the front end, content creation, the membership, which is going to be my club, the email, all of that. And then I'm going to sell physical and digital products with Fourth Wall, which is what I showed you in the last class. And I'm going to, every time I have a digital, I'm going to want to package it up with something physical because I just think it adds that much more value to it. You don't have to describe your digital product as much, and it increases the perceived value. So if you're doing, Todd, the Yarn Syndicate, right? And it's a secret group of crotchets, crocheters, right? And we have this downloadable thing, whatever it is. You get it. It's $59 and you get the free sweatshirt, and then you package it together. So that's what I'm going to be using for digital and merchandise. So I'm going to have two things. So that, yeah. JB said, interesting that you're using video. Yeah, I was going back and forth. I was going with ChatGPT for days and days, and I was really trying everything. I said, if you saw my chats, you'd be like, Ryan, you're out of your mind. I set up, I had WordPress set up. I started playing. I'm like, I don't love it. It was I had flashbacks of all that, all the plugins, and it was just a nightmare. I hated WordPress. I looked at Ghost. I looked at Shopify. Like I said, just was not really great for content. I looked at Kajabi, and it's not really a content thing. It's good for the membership, but not the physical products and all the other stuff. So everything, and I had an account with High Level, which just was not, it was way too markety for what I was trying to do. So I've played with everything. You do you do whatever you feel comfortable with. I was just sharing what I'm using as of today. Can that change? Maybe, but what I'm not doing is signing up with some like crazy software created by the guy who created Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like 3,000 a month. Like, I'm not doing any of that, and I don't even know if there's that. But I'm not doing it. Scott said Substack. Yeah, and I actually looked at Substack as well. Very simple. Everything's built in. There's no fees. The only issue I had with Substack, and Scott, you nailed it there, is there, as of today, again, everything changes. They're really not that customizable. So for me, I am building a really I'm building this big, and I want to have something that I can grow, I could sell. Here's the thing. So yeah, there's going to be fees with Beehive as I start building, and it might end up being $200 a month or $300 a month as you have 100, 200,000 subscribers. However, even if I'm paying $300 a month, if I'm generating $300,000 a month, which I don't think is going to be a stretch at all. So $300,000 a month, Substack takes 10%. So 10% of 300,000, what the heck is that? Is that 30,000? Right? Right? Yeah, I believe it's 30. Is that right? Yeah, 30,000. So I'd be paying Substack 30,000 a month. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's a lot. That's a lot. But look, even 10 grand, right? You generate $10,000 a month. You're paying $1,000 a month, but there's no cost. And for me, it wasn't as flexible, but yeah, if depending on your goals, go for it. Like I do like Substack as well. I think it's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of, things that they do that are built and that can help you grow your list pretty quickly. So it is an option. So for me to spend 2 hours trying to tell you how to do a Beehive isn't going to serve a majority of you who are not using it. Just pick the tool that works with you. Every one of those tools can work. Go into ChatGPT and say, here's like when you give it your world you want and say, here are the 2 or 3 platforms I'm thinking of using. Give me pros and cons. Lionel said, where do you create the sales page with Fourthwall? I'm going to create the sales page in Beehive and then just use Fourthwall to check out. I mean, then send them over there. So if I have a long product I'm selling, it's going to send them over to Fourthwall when they're ready to buy. However, now here's the thing to think about. And yes, Beehive does work with Fourthwall. The people who buy on Fourthwall can get put into your Beehive list as customers. Remember, though, this is the other important thing. If you're doing this right and people are in your world and you're packaging up, potentially, if you want to use Fourthwall or even Shopify, and you're packaging up a digital product with a physical product, with a sweatshirt, with a sticker, with something, you don't need a ton of sales copy, right? You're like, you're in the speaker syndicate. You're like, here's our new speaker codes, our 15 cards that have been handed down for 3 generations. And we're doing with a limited time t-shirt. There's only 50 available. When they're gone forever. It's only $49. Do you really need the headline? Who wants to be the best speaker in the world? And here's my 7 bonuses and here's this. No, I don't think you do. When you guys go to Amazon and you buy something, do you need 30 pages of copy? Probably not. So I'm trying to get us out of that world and people who are fans of use Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, like, or V Friends, what Gary's building. Like if they're going to buy the cards, the V cards, they don't need a lot of copy. You really don't. You just need descriptions of what it is you have. I think that's the beauty of this. At least that's my, based on my experience in e-commerce. And that's where I'm a little bit different than a lot of info marketers, is because I built 3 e-commerce companies. We never needed a lot of copy for selling bars, selling greens. Like it is what it is. So I think if you can package it with physical stuff, it gives you that much more. So, but great questions coming in. So that was code number 6. And the final code now is progression. Right? It's the progression. And there's different types of progression. There's the awareness progression, meaning the signal caught, right? They see something interesting and they find you. They see it on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. Like, oh man, that's different, right? As opposed to, hey guys, here's 3 tips to improve your speaking. That stuff, it does work. And I just taught a course recently, Mic Drop, and the stuff I was doing that, and it works well with my recipes. It does. It was actually almost too easy. Like, it works well. But I do believe as things are going to keep getting more and more competitive, and people can write scripts with AI and they're all saying the same things, the more we can differentiate, the better chance we're going to stand out and succeed. And I think to differentiate, something we don't use enough of is curiosity. And I'm talking like out of the box curiosity, where people are like, what the heck is that? I like that. I like when people are just totally dumbfounded, because it gets them to stop. It stops the scroll. Like, what? Is that real? Is it not? Then you've got their attention, right? You got their attention. Here was some samples that they have, which was, if your talk could be delivered by AI, it's not a talk. You're not here to regurgitate frameworks. You're here to transmit something real. We're done with perfect slides. We speak in raw mode now. Join the broadcast. And this attacks the status quo, uses identity-based language like the raw mode, and invites them to join something mysterious. Here's another one. And by the way, you guys have a good question. I'm going to answer every question at the end. A speaker standing in the shadows, just a mic icon with a slash. Scripts are the muzzle. No filters, no notes. Just you, the mic, and the message you're afraid to say. Welcome to Station 77. Then I had GPT create a little image. Just something that's different, right? Ever feel like there's a real speaker, secret society nobody talks about, where prompts are passed in code? Cassettes whisper the lost trading, and charisma is currency. It's not a mastermind. It's not a program. It's a frequency. You either catch it or you don't. The Speaker Underground is opening 11 new IDs. So this hints at exclusivity and uses secret society language and plays on emotion and identity. So here's a question that just came in. So I'm having an issue with made up backstories, these worlds. These things didn't really happen, but we build on the facts, on the fake backstory. Yeah. You're going to be transparent and say, this is AI, right? This is fiction. Let me what I want to do is share the AI, what I'm using. I'm going to use at the bottom of my page a disclaimer, and I'll share that with you. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to be saying on the bottom of mine. And you know what I'll do? I'll share in the downloads. I'll give this to you, and then I'll so you can use it. So at the bottom of every page, oops, I got to get to. I know you're watching me for a second, but I just don't want to share this section. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So I say, under the trade, at the very bottom of the footer, it's going to say all artists, and all artists here. All artists and content are original works of fiction. I say the vibes are real, but no real individuals are portrayed or implied. And then I have read our full AI and IP statement. And then I had ChatGPT create an AI IP statement that these are works of fiction and they're created. No person is meant to be here, real or not, right? So I am not, and I'm not telling you guys to create this thing and then like act like it, like the guys who created Stranger Things aren't saying this is real and then like not backing off that story. It's a work of fiction. It's a story. So I am saying that in the bottom. I'm not trying to hide that it's a story. But people, millions and millions of people go to Comic-Con. They know it's a story, right? They know it's a story. So I think as long as you back it up with, we're not trying to hide this. That's how I play. There are people who would say, no, you bury it, you don't know. But I'd rather play it safe and be like, look, it's a story. And if you don't want the story, then cool, right? Then don't do it. Then you do you. But that's what I'm doing. Faye says, I can also see creating something that's so much fun that people understand it's not real, but they want it anyway. Yes. That's, you just summed it up. They know with James is like that. Likely it's not someone who, was working out in the background and handed it down for generations and it's been lost for 50 years. Like people know when they're watching a movie, they know, but they still want to be a part of it. They're still buying the Spider-Man t-shirts and all of that stuff. And I'm trying to find ways to position it differently, because if you're a fan of fiction, if you're a fan of Stranger Things and you have the itch and you love that world and you want to be part of that universe, that's something you can't go to AI and replicate, right? You can, but how to lose 20 pounds, you're done. How to reverse diabetes, I'm not paying $997 for your course anymore. I'm not. I'm sorry. So I've been really trying hard to find ways to bridge the gap between still being in the digital information world without going full entertainment and having something that's engrossing and different. And that's why this is, it's a new model. Like, we are really pushing boundaries. And look, it is still kind of gray. Like, it's a little bit gray. Like, what is it? Is it fiction? Is it not? But I highly recommend you are completely upfront with it. You don't have to say in every ad or every post, by the way, this is AR and this sort of, but what I'm going to have it is at the bottom of my footer. So every single page, they will see that. And I will give you, again, I'll give you that post, that my language where it says all artists and content are original works of fiction, right? Original works of fiction. The vibes are real, but no real individuals are portrayed or implied. So I'm not trying to rip anyone off and say, this is a real person. So it's good. You guys have great questions. Great questions. Let's just continue with progressions, right? So we had here the awareness progression. So the signal, so they find you, you get their interest, and we're going to talk about marketing too, and look at different potential marketing things we can do. Oh, Lionel, just really quickly here. What about disclaimer saying something like, this world is a work of fiction, but its ancient principles are real? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not a lawyer, but 100%. Yes. Next part of the awareness progression is the mic unlocked. That's where they're commenting, or they opt in, or they download, or they buy, right? So you get their attention. They're like, okay, I'm in. Let me click. Let me opt in. Maybe I buy. Now they're entering your world, and they're in. And if they're in and they're digging it, then their voice gets amplified. Now they're posting. Now they're sharing. Now they're tagging friends. My goal / prediction is that this is going to be our secret weapon, because if you were coming back to the speaking idea, right? If you just bought a program called the How to Speak with Confidence Masterclass, are you really that excited about it? Are you tagging everyone you know, saying, oh man, Frankie, you got to join this thing. You got to join the Speaker Confidence Masterclass. Probably not. But the Speaker Syndicate and Frank, you got to check this out. Like there's these different levels and it's echo and it's so cool and it's so fun and it's so different, but the content's really good. Like I went inside and I listened to one of the audios and I was shocked. I actually didn't think it would be that good, but you got to check this thing out. That's where we want to get to. That's the game. And I know this from when I built my last e-commerce company, Rewind, really digging into the vibe and the retro stuff and having it spread like wildfire. And people taking pictures and check out these screens. Look how fun this is. It's a cartoon character. It's so different. Like it's so funny because e-commerce, you could do so well with e-commerce, but people like market information products so differently. But I think if we could kind of move over to that world, it works incredibly well. Okay. So based on voice amplified, so they, using the speaker example, they begin posting, tagging, and sending friends. They're using language like raw modes, Station 77, truth tape. They become part of your living lore. So the idea is for recognition and subtle elevation, like you've been seen, right? So a lot of cool things happening. Then there's the inside progression. Once they're in. And Scott asked about YouTube or other social platforms to bring awareness. Absolutely, we're going to talk about that. So here's the journey arc, right? What's the transformation they're going through? What's that? And we talked about transformation earlier. So from over-rehearsed robot to magnetic truth speaker. And there could be milestones along the way. Give it flavor, give it metaphor. So think role-playing games, right? Is there a transformation? Are there names? Is there something unique that you bring to it? And Max had asked this question. I know he couldn't be here today, but he said, with the progression, can it be linear or choose your own adventure? And you know the answer. The answer is yes. It could be either. It depends on how you're building this world, how complex it's going to be. Are there multiple levels of progression? Is there just one? How are they coming in? I mean, if you want it simple, then it would be one, right? It would be linear. It'd be you find out about us, you join, and then if you want to jump into the membership of the club or whatever that is, go for it. You're in. Like that's it. That's the simple progression. And you can give them tools to track progression if you want to make it more complex, right? The signal card where you could check off challenges, or digital progress dashboard, collectible pins or patches at milestones, the public jam streak. So it really comes up with some interesting ways to do this and to create progressions within the world. And as it's ChatGPT, create a simple signal card. Of course, I would continue to work on that, but it gets you 80, 90% of the way there in seconds. And if there's levels of roles, can they level up? Can they unlock something? There's a bunch of membership platforms, depending how complex you want to get. Like if you're using WordPress, there's one popular one for marketers called School, where you could unlock things based on the number of interactions you have and chats, and the more interactive you are, you could unlock this next thing and this next thing. So School is one, but it doesn't really let you control much of the world. So it feels a little disconnected from a world. But if you want things simple and streamlined, that is an option. So for here, the example could be level 1 could be echo, and you're learning to break the script. Level 2 is when you start getting better. You start leading with the story, your signal. Level 3 is source, teaching others the code. And each level could unlock new content, merch, or even community access. And if it's merchandise, what's your product cost? How much are they paying to be in your world? Here's a t-shirt I had GPT mock up for me. I am the source. they're going to wear this more than they're going to wear I'm a Confident Speaker or Confident Speaker Master Course or the Confident Ninja Master Course or 6-week fitness slim down, right? Like these are the kind of things people do wear. They do. Not everyone, but the super users, absolutely. This is what I mentioned earlier. My world is likely going to have one paid level just for simplicity, which brings me to Nick's question. I'll answer that now while we're here. Since the answers are all one click away in AI, how do you justify a membership? As in, what was the line between where free becomes paid? Because you're creating things that are not, they're a step away from, okay, using the speaker industry as an example, right? As example, a typical membership site would be, hey, come in and I'm going to show you how to be a better speaker. You're going to get, 7 tips on speaking from the stage. You're going to get 9 ways to boost your confidence. You're going to get all that stuff that's easily found in GPT. It's information. It's information. You might be saying yours is better. Hey, listen to my 9 tips for speaking from the stage because I've spoke at 37 TED events. Okay. However, if you're joining the speaker syndicate and every week you're getting we give you the downloadable version of these cassettes that were handed down by speakers, and each one of them is going to reveal one of their favorite ways that they energized the crowd, or they did, and then you're going to hear a sample speech, or you're going to hear these from the syndicate. You can't AI that. Look, can you potentially, if like AI spiders your thing and all your products, and you'd be like, hey, I want the speaker syndicate cassette, blah, blah, blah. But it's a much different animal. You're adding much more, you're creating a moat around your information. And it's more of a, people want to be a part of that versus here's the information. That's the difference. People can find information anywhere. It's no longer just about the information. And what most people are doing is trying to sell information. And here's my membership because you get all of this information. Here's my course because you get this information. Instead of, here are these things that's why when you wrap the myth around it, you create a moat, it becomes a much different play. I hope that makes sense. And that's why we have to get away from focusing so much on framework stuff. Here's my blah, blah, blah method for doing this. When you start doing that and adding it in too much, then I do believe it does take away from it, which is kind of it's counterintuitive. This is my belief. I believe that I would say something different a year or two ago. Now, I would say the more you start building these frameworks, I actually think it starts working against you. I think it has to be, my conjecture is that the more you kind of fictionalize and have the myth and the lore where you keep people on your toes and they're like, I really want to be a part of that. That's cool. That's the way you're going to stand out. I hope that makes sense. And I know, Nick, you sent me one of your sample worlds, and I think you started kind of defaulting to, I won't say the name of your program because maybe you don't want it public, but the blah, blah, blah method, which you kind of keep coming back to and defaulting to. I think if you lean too hard into it, then yeah, it becomes, well, I could just find that anywhere. Here's what I want all of us to do for a minute. I'm giving you, and someone wrote it in the Facebook, I forget who wrote the comment, might have been Faith, and she said, I've given you a permission slip to create. And we are starting right now with a blank slate, okay? Some of you wrote, well, I'm a health professional, I'm a fitness pro, and this is what I teach. Forget all that for a minute. You don't have to do any of that. Do whatever the F you want. You don't have to teach a certain you're like, "Well, I wanna do this, and this is what I think so." Throw all that shit out the window for now. Do whatever you feel like doing, but don't do it because you think that that's what you have to do. Because 'cause we're so deeply conditioned to say it has to be an information thing and a product we're going to sell. All that is out the window, okay? Start fresh right now. I don't care if you were a fitness professional for 30 years. I don't care if you've been a lawyer for 40 years. I don't care at all. You don't have to do that. You can build whatever world you want. What I'm building, my world, has zero to do with what I'm doing now. Zero. Completely different universe. It's set in 1986, but it's completely different universe. Do you, but don't feel so ingrained like you have to do this thing. I hope I hope that helps. You with AI now, there are no rules. Like you can do whatever you want. You could become Stephen King. Like, why can't you? It would have been much harder before because you're like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm not a good writer. I don't have the creativity. I can't think of all this stuff. And then you're kind of stuck and you're back to, all right, well, I was a fitness pro for 20 years. I had my ACE certification. I kind of know what that's. So I'm going to stick with that. You don't have to know any of that. You could build, you may be a fanatic of, maybe you love the acting world, but you've never been an actor, but you want to build something for actors. Build it for them. This was the thing passed down from, the soap opera star from the 50s, his hidden scripts. I just made that up. But why not? You can absolutely do what. Wait till you see what I'm building. You're like, what? I've never done any of it. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not asking for anyone's. I said permission, but I'm not asking for anyone's permission. And you know what? I'm going to say something a little controversial. I don't care what my audience thinks. I'm building for me. I want to do something different. I want to do something cool. I'm going to build a business out of it. People don't know what they want. Steve Jobs is famous. They have no idea what they want. Do something for you for once. Stop worrying about who's going to pay me $47 a month and what's the product and what's the. Just do whatever the heck lights you up. There you go. Lionel just called me reverently. Yes. I'm feeling the spirit, my friend. I'm feeling it. I want us to unlock all of that stuff holding us back that keeps pushing us back to it. Needs to be this information that, like, I have to teach this thing. And how do I make this world work for my thing? How do I do it? Like Todd says, how do I do it around crochet? But if your crochet and knitting is already working and you want to do something else, then do something else. Do it sci-fi. It doesn't matter. Do it for you. Let's all just do whatever the hell we want. Because we got a limited time. And the last thing you want to do in your deathbed is regret. Be like, oh man, I should have done it when I had the opportunity. Build it now. Build that damn thing. So I'm having one level for simplicity. Now I got to come back off that high. Hold on. I hope you don't mind my rants, but I get really passionate about this stuff. I just see so many people making excuses and putting up barriers to success when you could be building and obsessed with, well, what are people going to think? And who gives a crap? Build it. Do you? Within the membership, within the universe, community status and recognition, right? How does the world recognize growth? Nicknames or call signs given by the group, public shout outs in the frequency reports, maybe that's your email, right? earning the right to run a sub channel like the Tape Deck Tuesdays. Growth is identity change, not just the info they consumed. That's a biggie. The identity change. It's not just about the information they've consumed. It's not. Heather said, my work I've been doing lights me up. I love it. I just don't know how to package around this. Don't even worry about that now. Just start, don't even let that restrict you. It'll come. And I'll give you playbooks that are going to help you. Okay? Here's a sample graphic. The Truth Speaker of the Week. So in your email, hey, congratulations, Diane is our Truth Speaker of the Week. Is there an expansion path? Right? Is there more opportunity? Now, this is advanced stuff. And I don't know if I'm doing any of this, but maybe there's some of you who have big eyes and you're really hungry. You're like, I want to go beyond this. So they could become, your members can become mentors or guides. They can launch their own station or spin-off world. Maybe they license it from you. I once had a person license Freedom for Fitness Pros from me. Right? They could start their own faction inside your underground, inside your society. They could do the Confidential Master Archive. There's so much that people can do and earn and potentially partner with you. It's unlimited. You don't have to worry about that now, but just know that you're no longer limited to the world of what's my funnel, what's my upsell, what's my course, 29, here's the, you don't have to worry about that. Just start with the creativity. At the end, I'm going to give you playbooks that are going to give you structure for products and monetization. So just stay tuned a little bit longer, but you don't have to start with that now. Okay. So now, and there were a couple questions that came up, and Scott had asked this. What do we do? How do we start getting awareness? What do we do for traffic? And I was going to do a separate traffic workshop, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give you my prompts as opposed to me just saying, regurgitating what I've talked about already. It just doesn't make any sense, because I'd rather give you tools where you can be independent and keep getting traffic and coming up with original ideas. So here's what I created were traffic playbooks. Okay. So traffic playbooks. So what I did was I thought to myself, with GPT, because you say, well, Ryan, what, with AI, you still need products, or can't people just chat and find it? Okay. Using that idea of, if I'm building a universe and I want someone to run my social media marketing, my buddy Gary, right? I've known Gary for a long time. I'd want to hire him and say, Gary, run my social, run all the traffic. So what I did was created, I actually brought Gary on as my traffic lens. Okay. So I came up with the prompts and the playbook saying, Gary, you are running my social media marketing. Let's see what you got. Right? Let's see what you got. And then what we did was, let me show you this. I had a prompt and I had him, it basically created traffic strategies using Gary. So now I don't have to hire Gary. I didn't have to pay him $25,000 to sit down with him for an hour, whatever the price is. It took all of his stuff, all of his products. And you could even upload, if you have PDFs of his books, upload his books, or you could upload transcriptions of interviews you've heard and say, help me create this. I mean, it does this for you. So I said, and I'll give you the prompt. So here is the traffic playbook that quote unquote Gary created for me for the Speaker Syndicate, right? It's right here. So here's what it looks like. I'll run through this quickly. Record. So I said, give me 10 of your best free social traffic strategies, right? 1, record a 60-second unscripted rants about truth, censorship, or authenticity. Post on Reels, TikToks, and Shorts. If your talk could be delivered by AI, it's not a talk. These are ideas. So if you are running the speaker syndicate, you now have ideas for these little mic riffs that you could do, or have AI do it for you. Slide drops. Share one concept from the covert prompt deck as a static carousel or Twitter thread. Include a code name. So prompt number 0087. The first sentence equals your hook. Tell me that is not more interesting than, hey guys, here's one more way to, get more speeches or be a better speaker. This just makes it more unique and less. It becomes more difficult for GPT, for people to be like, oh, how do I find that? Like, because this is something that is really yours. It's different. It's unique. You guys are really, I hope it's starting to sink in, right? Station check-in post, post a cryptic update. Just broadcasted from Station 77. Truth is louder here. Add 0 links. Drive DMs. What did I say? Curiosity. And you might get these 10 and be like, I'll do 2 or 3 of them. I'll throw out 7 or 8. It doesn't matter, but at least you have like a brainstorm partner with it. Take 20-second audio bites from your lost training audios, paired with shadowy images. Post daily. Comment hijacks. Jump into the comments of every speaking and marketing thread, but speak like you're from the underground. I don't know if I would do that, but if you're like, screw it, and you set up you're using a different faith, I don't know. Maybe you get banned from the community. Maybe you get a little controversy. I don't know, but that probably is not my thing, but maybe it's yours. Send encrypted style 90-second audio voice note via Telegram, Substack, or even DMs. Title, Mic Check number 19. Stop telling stories you don't believe. Number 7, the Silhouette Speaker Series. Feature faceless speaker profiles with quotes. I lost my face. I found my voice. Agent 13. And this is for the speaker thing, right? It's all speaker specific. I told Gary, create 10 social concepts for this syndicate, right? Start weird tags only using what your tribe uses. Hashtag Mic Society, hashtag Raw Mode, right? All these, post them via unofficial code drops. Repost a rebellion. Actively share your members' raw videos. Signal boost them with coded captions. Builds tribe, makes them feel seen. Those are pretty cool. And then you could do a weekly live transmission if you're the face, right? Go live once a week at Station 77. No pitch, just riffing on this week's speaker myth. Ends with broadcast complete. If you want to be more of the face. Now, you are getting, so I'm going to give you this playbook, right, in PDF that you're going to upload, and then you're going to use with this prompt. So I'm going to give you this prompt as well. Okay. So you'll have the prompt that's now going to go through your world along with the PDF. So it'll have an idea of what to do. And now you're going to be off to the races. You're going to be running. Okay. But what I did was I wanted to give you a little bit more, like another voice, because some of you, I notice, you want to still go less fiction and more, a little bit more grounded in reality, a little bit more, here's my method for reducing inflammation type of thing. So then I'm like, okay, well, who's a marketer who's very prolific, not crazy like Grant Cardone, who just throws everything out there, but someone who's thoughtful, but does it more from a authority perspective, but very prolific. And I thought of my bearded buddy, Alex Hermosi. So what I did was I actually created a new thing. I said, okay, here's a new business, right? We're calling it, it's under the fitness, like a futuristic fitness thing. So I said, give me 10 if Hermosi was running it, right? So volume times value times velocity. So this goal of this traffic is to build velocity, build authority with raw content and value bombs. Okay. So his style is a little bit different than the filter I use with Gary. Gary's is going to be more story. It was a little bit more interesting, a little bit more VFriends. Alex is much more straightforward. And some of you might resonate more with this, right? Protocol breakdowns, post quick, what this protocol fixes videos, hook still bloated, try this fuel switch, right? Includes visuals of protocol cards and character drop overlay. So you're still taking information like bloated, right? But you're adding the story to it, right? So here, the before and after split screens, but the caption, no coaching, no calories, just mission cards. 2 weeks to mission 009. So I know some of you are going to resonate with this more. So I'm going to give you this as well. This is all, I actually put this in all one PDF. So you can just upload this to whatever AI you use. So the idea is you upload this PDF, then you use this prompt, and then you've got your traffic strategies. It's that easy. It really is that easy. Is that helpful for you? As opposed to you saying, what the heck am I going to do for traffic? So it'll give you these ideas, and you might say, hey, these 10 are great. I really like the cassette drop. Give me 10 more like that. And then from that 10, you might say, okay, here's the one I like. All right, great job. I love this one, this daily cassette drop with this hook. Write out a 30-second script from the perspective of me or from the perspective of my character or one of my side members or one of my mentors. And now you're rolling. That's what I'm saying. Like, all your friggin' excuses are gone. And I wanted to give you this because I want you to do this. That's what I'm saying. There's no excuse anymore. So in terms of, hey, let me come here. In terms of platforms, because Scott was just asking this. Scott asked, are you creating a brand new YouTube channel? Yes. For this, I am. I am not doing this under Ryan Lee. You are not going to see my name and face anywhere in the universe at all. But so now I'm playing it a little bit different, and you might play it the same or you might play it differently. It do what feels right to you. The way I'm doing it is my quote unquote Ryan Lee brand is, me, RyanLee.com. I am going to only talk about world building from now on in this realm, kind of creativity stuff. Like, I am not talking about here's how to create a course and an upsell. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll talk about monetizing within a world, but I'm not going to talk about that stuff. And I want to get away from being a quote unquote internet marketer to more of a creative world builder. That's going to be my front end. And then once my world goes live, I will mention it. I'll say, here's the world I'm building. Ryan's the founder of blah, blah, blah world. But when you go to the world, you won't see me at all. So if you didn't come from RyanLee.com, you wouldn't know that I created it. You might say, I'm creating a futuristic fitness world, but I don't want my face seen at all. I don't want anyone to know it's me. Then you don't have to. You can stay totally behind the scenes and on your own site. So if Dr. Venus does, wants to build a thing and doesn't want her face involved, she doesn't have to mention it on Dr. Venus. She can still run her own thing. It just depends on what you want to do. How visible do you want to be? I can't, I've come to terms, I can't not be on stage. I can't go to an event and not be on stage. So I'm just going to kind of balance the two. You might be really happy being behind the scenes and be like, I just want to do cool stuff at home and have no one bug me. Or you might want to be visible, and you could either be visible in the world or outside of the world and saying, I own that world, but I'm not in that world. Miko said it's going to take a lot of thinking and playing with ideas. Thank you again. Yeah, don't make it too complicated. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I'm going to give you strategies on what to do every day. But yeah, think in terms of platforms, right? Like, can you drop your content on different platforms, especially where there's some passive income, right? Podcast. It could be Station 77 weekly drops from the underground. They could be 10-minute episodes with covert style tips, prompts, frameworks. And then if you're on some of these platforms, they already do built-in ads for you. So if it does take off, you could make money with ads. It probably won't be a lot unless it really takes off. But passive, right? Semi-passive, you don't have to go out and find the sponsors. Yes, YouTube, right? You could do faceless videos, breaking down framework speeches or transmissions, use AI visuals. You can monetize with ads. So once you hit that secret number, that number of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, then you can get monetized. Like right now, my recipe videos, I don't do anything, and it brings in money every single day. Not a lot right now, but brings in money. Helps pay for my 4 kids' college. If you have some publications, you could potentially put them on Amazon KDP, right? The frequency file, 77 underground speaking prompts. So you could put it there. Diane said, I've created my own original avatar to be the face of my world. I love it. I never wanted to be the face of This Is Perfect. It's so easy to create your own character. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, it's the how it was before was if I wanted to be behind the scenes, I'd have to find an expert to be the face of it. And it was a lot more difficult to work with someone else. So now you can create these avatars in this fictional universe. And I find it so fascinating. It's so I can't even sleep. I'm so excited about this. I hope you guys are as excited as I am and not scared. Like this is, yeah, the opportunities are endless. You could potentially put them on Etsy, right? I haven't done it, but it's an option. So the Mike Society deck, printable PDF prompt cards. I don't know how many they would sell. This is probably pretty niched, but if you have something wider audience like the knitting stuff, could be an opportunity. When it comes to staying on track, staying organized, how does this work? I want to share some things that I'm doing. They said, I'm not scared, but I keep forgetting to breathe because it's so exciting. I love it. Now, what I suggest you do is create what I call a world Bible, right? Or like a document. And that world Bible, in this document, it should be a living, breathing document that you update as things change. But it has things like your core rules of the world. Here are the rules. Here's how it works. The character names. Who are all the characters? The timeline. We are taking place in an alternate 1994. So having all of that in there, right? The phrases, the levels, the ascension, the mission, what we believe. It doesn't have to be all done right now, even if you only have a couple lines, but definitely upload that document you're creating with the prompt I gave you. And then whatever AI tool you're using, you're often able to, I know with ChatGPT you can, most of them, you can create projects. What I don't suggest, you just dump it into one general thing where there's like 800 chats going and it's disorganized. I have one project for this world. I've actually separated to multiple projects, but I have one project now with this main one for this world. And I uploaded my whole world Bible and timeline and the words we use and the slang we use. So now every time I'm posting chats within that quote unquote project, it has access to it. So every AI tool is different, but there's got to be ways to have to project, but don't just have 5,000 random chats and hope it finds it, because then it gets overwhelming, right? So what I recommend you do is also create documents and folders on whatever system you use. I have it all on Google Drive, and I have my main folder called the name of my world. And then under those, I have different folders for my products, for the programs. I have folders for each character, the images of each character. So once there's a character that I create in ChatGPT, I'll download it to my computer and then upload it to that folder. So everything is in one place. You want to create as many systems as possible so that you could eventually, when it's going well, you could have other people help, or at least you have one place that it's all organized, right? Graphics, logos, merchandise ideas, all of that. Keep it organized in folders because it can get overwhelming if you're not organized. Okay. So just stay on this, right? And Max had asked, well, what if, it kind of loses track? And I found this does happen sometimes. So I will do something and I'll say, okay, write this thing out because mine is going to take place. I have revealed this to you. It's taking place in an alternate 1986. And sometimes it'll use a word like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And this is a new drop. And I say to it, no, it's not a drop, because if we're actually pretending it's 1986, you wouldn't use that word. You wouldn't say, hey, if you're tired of looking at your screen, right? Or if you're tired of checking your phone. And I said, remember, it's a 1986 timeline. You can't say that. So AI is not perfect, just like no human is perfect. It still makes mistakes. So that's why I call it a showrunner. That's the name. Like, you're still in charge of the universe. And that's why it's good to have your finger on the pulse. But you can use this phrase when you're starting new chats and new sessions. Use the existing universe I've outlined. Never contradict these characters, timelines, or rules. So if you just put that at the beginning of a new chat, it's going to say, most of the AI is like checking memory, checking project. It's like, got it. Okay, here's the timeline. Here are the rules. I'm with it. But even then, it will occasionally make mistakes. It may say this character does this when it should say something else. It may call it the syndicate when it should call it something else. So you just have to be aware and just stay on it. And do you make mistake? Does it make? Yeah, it's going to happen, right? But we're not chasing perfection. Nothing's perfect. You're never going to have perfection. And then there's protecting your IP. So this is where things are really interesting, because with the law still hasn't caught up with it. Like, we're still, the law's still trying to figure out all this stuff and what's legally considered human input versus AI input. From the research I've been doing and the attorneys I've been speaking to, what I've found out right now, and there's no law set, but it's leaning towards, if it's like a lazy prompt, if you just say, create this story and then do nothing, and then AI comes up with everything. Like, if you just say to AI, I want to build a world, build it, and you've done nothing. But if you're saying, I want to build a futuristic fitness world around this concept, let's start with the story. And it does it. Okay, that's great. Now add 2 characters. Now there's human involvement. Now you're protecting yourself from whatever potential issues that could be down the road. Well, you didn't really create this, or you stole this from me. What you should always do is, at minimum, screenshot and save the prompts you're using to show I am a human and I had human input into this. Okay. Especially if you're creating products and guides, to show that you had some say in it. All right. Just to protect yourself. We don't know where it's all going, especially if you're doing stuff in entertainment, right? Or if you're creating books or scripts or songs or television, whatever you're going to do, it's good to just protect yourself for potential copyright challenges, right? And speaking of copyright registration, the law, I'm not a lawyer. I've copywritten stuff. I've had stuff trademarked, but from my understanding, when you create something original, it's an automatic copyright. Now, again, this is where things get gray, because if you didn't add any human input, it is often some of the people who are challenging things like the music industry is famous for. They're saying, well, you didn't add anything to it. You just did a song and it's stole from us. So now we're going to sue you. But if you show that you had human input, you could protect yourself more. But when you have human input, so you can't copyright something that you didn't create at all. If AI created for you 100% and you didn't add any human thing, like any guidance, not even saying, hey, it's a fitness world, you did nothing, you can't copyright that. You can't copyright something AI created. You have to have human input. That's my understanding now. Again, everything is still being worked through in courts. But so you're automatically copywritten if you have human input. But you should also register it. Now, this is for the United States. Different countries are going to have different rules and regulations. If you have a flagship product, flagship programs, lore, books, even maybe potential characters, those you can get copywritten. And there's different, it's not expensive, $60, $70, $80 to copyright something just to protect yourself. Someone says, oh, you stole that from me, or you didn't really do that. Well, no, we did. Here's the proof. And it's at least you have, or if someone takes your thing, if you created someone or a character or a story and someone steals it and you're a registered trademark, now you can go after them for damages and attorney fees. Like you just get more protection. So just something to think about. You don't have to worry about it now. Don't freak out. Don't be like, oh my God, now I got to copy. I just want to show you what I'm doing and just something to think about, just to think about it. Okay. And trademark again, down the road. Don't worry about spending $1,000 trademarking your thing now, but just something to think about. Look in trademarks, think about what your name is going to be, what the universe is. Okay. Now, when it comes to big goals, when you're building your universe and your world, what do you want? Right? What do you actually want from this? What's your vision? Do you want it more of a lifestyle business? Do you want to do it like, hey, I just want to work an hour a day, and if I can make a couple $1,000 a month, I'm happy? Or do you want to make it a 7 or 8 figure business? If you're building a fictional world with this IP that you own and you're showing that you have, right? You're documenting this stuff. It's going to be a very valuable asset. It is. It's going to be much more valuable than how to be a confident speaker. Because media companies want assets. They want these media assets. So I like shooting for big goals. My friend Les said, and I love this quote, right? Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. So what I did was created a $100 million playbook. I went to GPT and I said, we're building a $100 million company. The first thing I did, I ran it through. I said, let me see what would Gary do again? I ran because it gave good traffic stuff. So when I was building my company, I ran it through a bunch of different people. So what it looks like is I said, okay, run this through. You are now Gary Vaynerchuk. You just bought my company. How are you going to take this to $100 million? Now, again, an outrageous number, right? I've never built a company to 100 million. I've built them to the most gross income my businesses have hit. 2 of my companies hit 7 figures per month in top line revenue, not putting $1 million in my pocket every month. But I never built a $100 million company. So I said, let me stretch. Here's the $100 million. So with the speaker syndicate, how will you do this? And they tried to cancel you. So it gives a little story here, and you're going to get this playbook and you're going to get the prompts too. And then break it down by phases, phase 1. So now you're like, well, where do I begin? What does this look like? Now you've got it in the world of, what do they call them? Like vision boards or dream boards. Now you've got, this is Gary's idea of here's what it looks like. If we were to do this, here's phase 1, here's all the potential product. Because I know some of you said, well, Ryan, I don't know what product I would create. I don't know what this would be, right? I don't know what this looks like. Now we've got potential ideas for you in a phase, right? The first phase, the first couple of months. And you might look at this and say, look, I don't want to do all these. I only want to do one of these things. But now we've got phase 1, phase 2. Now we're building the media machine, right? $1 to $10 million. right? You could do the membership, the Mike Society, monthly drop of speaking frameworks, underground tapes, live prompts, and content vaults. The underground tapes is like the secret, right? Because Nick asked before, why would someone pay for a membership? Because of that. That's what you can't find. Your signature offer, the Black Book, a 30-day immersive system for building a faceless or face optional speaker brand and monetization. So we could still have quote unquote products, just in a different wrapper. That's all we're doing. And then phase 3, thinking even bigger, right? Maybe you build a board game, or maybe there is a flagship course within there, or maybe you want to do a $25,000 a year mastermind, or maybe you don't, but let's at least play it out. So I ran the Gary V playbook by it, and what you're going to get is that plus you're going to get the prompt to help you build out phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 0 to 1 million, 1 to 10, 10 to 100. Even if you get 1% of the 10 million, you still got a business. Now, you're like, well, that's cool, but what else? And this is the summary of like the product ladder, right? Here's free, here's entry, here's core, here's premium. So this is potential products, all within the world, all within the fictional universe. That's cool. But what would Ryan Lee do? So I built a $100 million playbook using my methodology. So ChatGPT, as my thing is trained on my stuff and my systems and how I create products. So it created this playbook based on me, how I've trained it. And I said, let me do something different. And I said, let's do one for fitness. So it called it Forge 2099. The year is 2099. Civilization collapsed under the weight of biotech greed. A rogue alliance of underground trainers began broadcasting protocols to rebuild human bodies, one mission at a time. We don't follow a coach. You don't follow a coach. You join the Forge. So the mission is build the most immersive fitness universe ever, combining story, characters, gear, and missions. So you never need a coach. You never need to coach one-on-one again. No coaching calls, no community management, just high converting drops, narrative-driven programs, and the vault of evergreen IP. So here's to get you to 100 million from inside my brain. So all of this, like even here, lead magnet, it took my idea, like the sardine protocol, right? Because that's the thing I do. So this is all based, if you were to hire me and I were building out your futuristic fitness thing, it kind of is, this is pretty close to how it would be, right? Because it has tens of thousands of pages of all of my products and everything uploaded into here. Phase 2, dominate the underground. We've got membership, right? Cassette audios, printables, physical drops. You might only do one of these. It has a fictional thing, Dr. Cade's forbidden stack reports. And then the Forge ascends and getting you from 10 to 100 million. Shooting for the stars, baby. And the product ladder. So you're going to get all that. Like I said, you're going to get. So what I did was with the playbooks. So here's Gary's complete playbook. So I made this as a PDF. So I'm going to give you that as well, that you're going to be able to just upload into your AI. So you'll have my playbook and Gary's complete playbook. And then you're going to get this this prompt as well that goes along with the PDF. So at least it has, because if you just gave it this prompt but didn't have the PDFs, it wouldn't really know what to do structured. So both of them together are going to supercharge your results. I probably should have charged more for this course, huh? And then, because I just, like, I'm serious. This might be the last course I ever do. Like, I just want to focus on people who want to build world. And the goal is, once you guys go through this, have alumni and we keep meeting and we keep building and helping each other. Like, that's kind of the vision for it. So what do you do next? Like, how do you actually break this down without feeling overwhelmed? Because I know it can feel overwhelming. So here's a really, really simple 1-3-5 system. Instead of saying, oh man, I have to create all this stuff, right? So now you look, you got the playbooks. So you're going to get all of that. I'm going to give you the PDFs. I'm going to give you prompts. So it's all going to be there for you. So here's what you have to do each day. This is it. 1, 3, 5. Okay. 1, and this is every day. This is it every day. 1, must do non-negotiable task. So for the speaker world, it could be, and just one of these, record 1 unscripted audio for station 77, or it could be dropped a new covert prompt to your list or socials, or create 1 slide or visual for your mic pack, or host a 10-minute unscripted jam on Instagram or YouTube Shorts, or write 1 newsletter issue, the Frequency Report. 1 thing every day that moves the needle. With me, I have mine, which is creating a specific piece of IP for my world. You got to find that thing that's like the most important thing for you. It's probably not, and this is where we got to be careful. This is when our creativity takes over and distraction, and I'm guilty, where all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just want to design t-shirts. And that's all. And then you spend 3 hours designing t-shirts and you didn't do anything that's really going to be like the most important thing now. So we've got to just make sure we're doing the right thing. So that's 1. 3, which is 3 medium momentum tasks. So things that are moving forward. So for speakers, draft a new prompt for the vocal jam cards, edit an older podcast into a faceless video, write the caption for a signal post, update your Notion mic mission dashboard, research a storytelling clip for remix, organize 5 content ideas into echo signal source levels. So stuff that's going to move it forward, right? So 1 non-negotiable, got to do this every day, 3 medium momentum tasks, and then 5 micro wins, little small things, tiny. DM a follower, code name for fun engagement, right? Jot down 3 new challenge ideas for a signal card. Check off a public jam streak. Screenshot a great line or quote for a future post. Comment on another creator's raw share. Clean up an old file in your mic pick folder. Add a new tag or emoji icon to your level up system. Simple things. But as opposed to looking at a blank screen saying, what the heck am I going to do today? 1, 3, 5. That's it. And your next steps, someone had mentioned earlier, start simple, right? It doesn't have to be a fully fleshed out idea, fully fleshed out world. You might not even know where it's really going yet, but that's okay. You don't have to know. Just start building and go. Make it live, and you could change as you go. It's not the end of the world, no pun intended. But start simple. Don't think, okay, I need to now build this for the next year and make it perfect and have 17 characters that all interconnect, and this person is married to this and they got in a fight with this person. Don't worry about that now. If you're going to have multiple characters, have 2 or 3 or 2, right? Have your mission, have your timeline, and then let's go. And don't even worry about the product now. The playbook could at least be your dream, your vision board of where you want to go. And then I'll leave you with this. Here's what you can fill out now. Here's an action step for you, right? What's your world manifesto? What's that thing, right? In this world, we never blank. We always blank. Our voice is blank, and we exist too. And if you're not sure, what do? Screenshot this baby, throw it into ChatGPT. Hey, help me out. I'm not sure. Give me something good. Give me something to work off of. Before I start answering questions, Because all I do, by the way, all I do is want you to build your world. The world, ladies and gentlemen, is waiting for your voice. It really is. There's only one you. Even though AI is going to be your partner, your life partner, you are driving it. It's your seed of an idea. It's, I want to create a futuristic fitness thing. I want to create a knitting society that takes place in an alternate 1975. Like, you are driving it. So don't ever think that, oh, I'm not doing anything and I feel like it's cheating and I feel like I'm not doing it. It's all coming from somewhere in the universe and landing inside you, and then you're using AI to kind of draw it out of you. But it's what you're going to create, even with these prompts, is going to be different. That what Lionel's going to create is going to be different than Diane, than JB, than Faith, than Kim, than Anil. Like, it's all going to be different than Jeff. Everyone's is going to be different, even with the same prompts, because you're starting from a little bit different place. So the world really is waiting for your voice. If you've enjoyed this program, I'm going to answer more questions. If you could, again, go to my Facebook and just leave a little comment there. And you should know the page by now, which is facebook.com/ the heck is it? /RyanLee.com. Even if you've left a message, you could just say, hey, I finished it. I finished this course. This was the greatest thing I've ever seen, or my mind is blown, or I just finished day 3. If you've never left a comment yet, give your thoughts on the whole thing. If you've been through the 3rd day, I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear your comments. But I really hope you've enjoyed this and it's changed the way you're thinking about business as much as it's excited me. I am not exaggerating. I have not been this excited about business in such a long, I can't remember, probably since when I started, like in the late 90s. And I was I built the first sports training membership site. And I saw the future for it. And I couldn't wait. I was a gym teacher. I couldn't wait to get home and like work on it all the time. I feel the same again. I feel like a kid. I feel like I'm back in my 20s doing this. And I just hope you feel that as well. Don't get so oh my God, it's not going to, how do I make it fit? How do I do it? Stop with the excuses. There's ways to make this all work. It's your creativity. There is no wrong answer. You just got to show up for the world. Okay, so let's answer some emails. Again, thank you for everyone who's been leaving comments. I really, really appreciate it. I truly do. But before I answer questions, how are you guys feeling? How are you feeling now? Because a lot of you were 9s, 10s, and you're going to get, remember, you're going to get all of the, you're going to get all those playbooks and all of the prompts. Like, I'm going to upload all that when you get the recordings. Oh, that was something, Diane. We already addressed that with Diane. Heather said, my background's health and wellness courses. So is the goal to get away from courses? Well, yeah. It's not, as you can see, it's not necessarily to get away from courses. It's to get away from the way we sell and package courses, right? It's getting away from calling them courses. It's getting away from saying, here's information I sell, here's the secrets, here's a system, to stories and wrapping it around potentially fictional stories, or maybe it's not so fictional, but something that's just a much more interesting, more entertainment type vibe. Because if it's just, I'm telling you right now, Heather, if it is just courses, you're going to be in trouble unless you're at the very, very top of the market. Simon Sinek will always be able to sell leadership courses. Although if I had to bet, I bet his is dropping too. But Seth Godin will always be able to sell an alternate MBA course, right? Tony Robbins will always be able to sell a Live Better course. But unless you're those people, or Marie and her work, like, unless you're at the top of the niche, It's going to be much more difficult because people are like, well, I'm just going to go to the top, or I'm just going to get it from GPT. So the middle is going to get eaten alive. That's what I'm seeing. The top is still going to drop. There's no way courses is still going to be the same. It's going to drop, but it's not going to drop as much as everyone else. So I think if you're not at the top of the industry, you need to shift. You need to shift the way you're thinking. I am getting out of Dodge. Like Heather, I have courses for healthcare certifications, exams, certificate, the whole thing. Okay. Well, like I said earlier, build whatever business you want, but there's no one forcing. If your business already isn't generating income, and maybe it is, Larry, but if it's not, and if you've been, and I'm not just saying you or any of us have said, this is what I do and this is what I create, and you guys have been trying it for a while and you're not making a lot of money, I hate to say this, it's going to be 100 times harder going forward. It just is. So don't do that. And no one says you have to stay in that market. It's a wide open space. You could do whatever you want. But if you guys have not already made hundreds of thousands or at least millions in your niche, it's going to be harder. If you're doing it the old way, it's going to continue to get harder because it's all dropping across the board. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Scott was just giving Heather advice over there. All right. Got it. You guys are just having a conversation. Lionel said, I want to do live in-person events. What are some ways to connect my fictional world with live events? That's really interesting. I'm still trying to work through that, like how it would work with live events. I thought about it in my fictional world. I'm like, yeah, I could build a whole alternate universe. I could have avatars of the characters. I could have people. I don't want to have people dressed up as characters. I think that could feel very cosplay for me. It depending on the vibe, depending on how much you really want to live this. If yours was like spiritual and it's about this thing passed down from monks, it could be an event held in like this kind of spooky basement of a church, right? Dark. You know, hey, come in through the back door. You have to knock 3 times. Really make it experiential. It could be something interesting like that. And you come up and say, you know, I was given, hi, my name is Lionel, and I'm going to be speaking today based on this. But it remains to be seen how it works out. I mean, right now, all of my focus is on the virtual one, but it could potentially lean in. It really will depend on what the universe is and how we monetize. But there's always a way. There's always a way with enough creativity. But yeah, I mean, I think with me, I would love to do some live stuff down the road. So, you know, if this was the speaker syndicate, what does that look like? It's this balance between, okay, you've got this secret society, but then if they come into the event and it looks like a big marketing event, like, you know, like a ClickFunnels, and there's a speaker on stage and they're pitching from the stage, it totally messes with the vibe. So I think the vibe does have to match what it is you're doing. But there's no reason it couldn't be, hey, we're the speaker syndicate and we're doing a live event for all of our speaker things, and just make sure it matches, right? Maybe it's not so big and flashy. Maybe it's a little bit more subdued, and it's not, here's the VIP and here's this. So it would definitely require some thought, but I think it could absolutely work somehow, some way, some shape. Okay. This is from Scott. I've been playing with 2 vibes in my world. One is a more mythical secret society feel. The other is more my current lifestyle. Hey, I'm a cat-loving guy with a black t-shirt and coffee walking the trail with Milo. Would you recommend picking one and leaning it fully, or blending the two and letting it evolve naturally? First one is less me. but feels like a world people join. I would say, see, this is a great question, Scott. This is a really, really good question, because the answer is, we don't, like, from a business perspective, I don't know, right? Like, no one knows. Vaynerchuk doesn't know. Russell Brunson doesn't know. Hormoz, like, no one knows until we do it. The only way to know is to put it out there. But I would say what you're doing, and it goes against what I used to. I used to always say, do one thing, focus on 100%, and just go all in. But because AI can help you move so quickly, now I'm like, build two things. So if you had an itch and you wanted to build that other thing, and you're like, there's a little part of you that says, yeah, I think people would really like that, then friggin' build that too. Build it as a second thing. Send people over there. Like, if you're being Scott Colby, the Cat Daddy guy, black t-shirt, coffee, walking on trails, you can say to them, hey guys, by the way, if you want like more fun, like a really cool, interesting story, I have a new world I'm creating called the Cat Universe. Go check it out at YouTube/Cat Universe. I think you're going to dig it. And then send them over there. I'm all about transparency. So I don't see why you couldn't do both. You're an action taker, Scott. So here's the thing. Like, if this is going to be our business, what else we got to do? I don't know. What else are we going to do? Yeah, some people, I work, I have a job, I have kids. I get it. Believe me, I do. So do as best you can. But with AI and GPT and all these other tools, how fast you can move and how much it can help you, you could build stuff so fast and test things so quickly. So I would do both. And let's see what happens. Let the chips fall. Okay. This was one of my ideas, was in YouTube to make live TV season, Lost Sources, S1, season 1, episode 1, make it like a Netflix series that would lean into the world building. Can the Netflix model work too? Well, was in YouTube. Well, if you're in YouTube, if you're doing it on YouTube as free, right? Like, hey, here's season 1 episode. So instead of Netflix, everything's behind a paywall. If you're saying, when you mean Netflix, I think you mean Netflix in terms of like seasons. Absolutely. Which, it's actually a smart move to do it that way, because that's how a lot of people consume content now. Season 1 just dropped. Let's binge watch it. So people consume entertainment and stories like that now, as opposed to when most of us grew up, TV, remember, it was like every week. And if you're in the States, Thursday night, right, on NBC, and the Cosby Show, and Family Ties. And so it was like every week you waited. Now it drops at the same time, but there's seasons. So I would say go for it. Absolutely. You got nothing to lose. Are there any more questions? Because I always promise that I want to answer every single question that comes through. I really, really hope that you have found this valuable. Oh, okay. Hold on. Scott had a question. You answered this a little bit, but wanted a formalized question. I've already launched my podcast and newsletter, and they started to build a nice rhythm. Do you recommend I start layering this in the New World language? Or is it better to make a clear pivot and let people know something new is unfolding? Well, if you are pivoting your current thing over and keeping the same URL and same everything, then and then you're shifting, do you do it gradually? I would, depending on your level of bravery, I am a hard shifter. You guys know I friggin' pivot hard. I have no problem doing one thing and completely going in a different direction overnight and telling you, hey, this is what I'm excited about. Because as I said earlier, and I'm not saying this rudely because I know it's so different than when I say fall in love with your customers, because I do believe you should, but I also don't care what you guys think. I'm doing what I want. And I think it comes through. Like, I play and I have fun. And some of you come for the ride and some of you don't. Some people don't like me and some do. So if you like me and you're here, cool. And if you don't, F off. I don't care. What are you going to do? You can't please everyone. So I know that's different than what you're asking. But I would say, for me, I hard pivot. But it's a little bit more brave, because if you hard pivot and it doesn't work, then you're like, okay, I got to go back, which is fine too. Like, you could say, hey guys, I love doing this. I love doing it, but I want to build, I'm really excited. I want to build something even more. I want to build something fun, something lighter, more playful. I want to build a world. I want to build a universe. I want to create something that we wake up to every morning and we can't wait to check in and do this. And I hope you join me, and I hope you really enjoy this. And if you do it for 6 months and the friggin' thing is bombing, then you come back to your audience and say, hey guys, it's Scott again. Thank you for taking that journey with me. It was so much fun and I learned so much. But what I discovered was blah, blah, blah. Or it was a lot of work. Or I really miss just wearing my black t-shirts and drinking coffee. So we're coming back, right? We're coming back. New Coke is gone. Coke Classic is back. So you can't, most people aren't really paying that much attention. So I'm a big pivot guy. I would rather just rip the Band-Aid off and say, this is what we're doing, as opposed to a slow gradual. I hope that helps, Scott. Again, that's me. Lionel said, how solid do you feel with Beehive and how hard is it to switch? I feel 85% good with it. 80%. I wish it had the built-in one-time digital products, but they are always adding new features and they're always growing. And the content platform is still in beta, so it's still a little bit buggy, but I like the way it's heading. And I like how it's an email first platform, and it has built-in referral things. There's a lot of things I like about it. So I feel pretty good on it. How hard is it to switch? Yeah, it's not really that hard. I mean, I've switched platforms more times than I can ever count. And now it's really easy. If you switch platforms, a lot of them will just import all the content, or you can hire someone for probably $100 and they can probably do it for you in a day. So it's not that big of a deal. It's a little bit of a pain if you have a lot of paid members, because switching over payments could be a pain, especially with Stripe and they can't move it over. But I like Beehive. I like that it's pretty clean and it's light, and they're always adding features. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping up Showrunner. As I've said earlier, if you've enjoyed this, if you could just leave a comment on my Facebook, I'd really appreciate it. And I know a majority of you want more with this group and what we're doing. I just got to think. Give me like a day. Like, let me just kind of think about how this is going to go, what the next thing is. What I might do is what I did with OPP, whereas I open it up again for new people. They can watch recordings, and then I do live classes where it's just all Q&A and we kind of dive in and keep doing things. And then I'd probably start sharing more of what I'm doing behind the scenes. It's just a little early for me to share now. So, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the kind words and the comments. Lena said the best class you taught. I appreciate it. So thank you guys. You all took a tremendous leap of faith. I got an email earlier from one of my longtime subscribers. She's like, Ryan, I still don't understand what you're doing. I still don't understand what a world is, even though you can exist. I don't know. And some of you might have even been a little fuzzy coming in. And I was a little bit coy on purpose, but I hope so, and the fact that I say, look, there's no refunds. Either trust me or you don't. Trust me that you're going to get your value. So I'm so glad you guys came here and put your faith in me. And I'm always going to work hard to make sure you get value, and this was way, way different than anything I've ever taught. And I really do believe this is where things are heading, and I want us to have an advantage. So no more excuses. Let's do this. Let's build our world. And I guess I'll see you in Showrunner 2.0. Take care. Let's build that world. Bye-bye.